One thing we get asked a lot about the end of Season of Discovery is what'll happen to my characters? Well, we don't really consider Season of Discovery to have an end, and we have no plans whatsoever to shut down the servers. We want to make sure that everyone has access to their characters and the achievements they've made for years to come. Our team has some really amazing things planned, and we really can't wait for you to see what else we're working on. Until then, thank you so much for playing Season of Discovery with us.
So, Season of Discovery is over. Blizzard's first real experiment with Classic came and went, and the big question now is simple. Did it deliver what players actually wanted, or did private servers do Classic Plus better all along? When Season of Discovery launched, it felt electric. Azeroth was busy again in a way we hadn't seen since 2019. People were logging in just to explore and figure things out with everyone else. No one had a perfect meta, no one had a checklist. And suddenly, your class could do things you never thought it could. Mages healing, warlocks and rogues tanking. It was weird in the best possible way. The rune hunt made the world feel alive. You'd hear a rumor about a rune hidden somewhere, and 5 minutes later your guild chat was organizing a little expedition to go find it. Phase 1 was fast, friendly and shockingly alt-friendly. Leveling to 25 was a breeze. The first raid was quick and puggable, and you didn't need a hardcore guild to keep up. People called it Season of Dads because it let normal players actually participate. It brought back that feeling from 2004 where the game felt like an adventure again. If Blizzard had held that line, this would be a very different video. But as the phases rolled on, the cracks showed. The early joy of discovering slowly gave way to, wait, this is just old content again. Raids many of us had cleared a dozen times came back with a couple of tweaks. A new damage check here, a resist check there, but not the kind of fresh endgame people were hoping for. Players were asking for Classic Plus. New zones, new dungeons, new raids that fit the vanilla style. Instead, it felt like reheated leftovers. Now, about Phase 2. It wasn't the death of the season. I believe it continued in the same good spirit, just like Phase 1. For a lot of us, it was still fun. If you had a guild, you kept rolling. Nomergan continued that 10-man cadence just like BFD, and guild groups could carry the momentum. Was the tuning rough on melee at times? Sure. Were pugs a little tougher to pull off? Yeah. But as long as your team showed up, you could progress and enjoy the ride. The real trouble didn't hit until Phase 3. Ashenvale still deserves a mention. On paper, a zone-wide faction clash sounded amazing. In practice, the optimal play was to avoid fighting and farm NPCs shoulder to shoulder. The people who tried to PvP were scolded for ruining the rep farm. A few days later, the nerf bat came down so hard that anyone who wasn't there on day 1 fell miles behind. That same old Blizzard pattern to spike the rewards, then slam them, made casuals feel punished for having a life. Exploit early, exploit often was unfortunately the case many times over in Season of Discovery. Phase 3 is where things really started to slide. Incursions were tuned so high that early logins leapt ahead by entire brackets, scooping up levels and mountains of gold in a single session. Everyone else logged in later to a different economy and a different game. Blizzard nerfed quickly, but the trust damage was done. Progression felt broken, the economy felt broken, impatience wore thin. The problem with incursions wasn't even about balance, it was design. That repetitive min-max grind has no place in classic World of Warcraft. The mere fact it was implemented in Classic was a loud signal of how disconnected the team is from the community. And at the same time, we jumped from tight 10-man raiding to big group raiding. That change alone hit a lot of casual-friendly guilds hard. Overnight you needed a deeper bench, more tanks, more healers, more scheduling, more recruiting. The social friction went up, the old scene shrank, and the easy low-pressure magic of the earlier phases was hard to recapture. For many players, Phase 3 was the moment SOD stopped feeling like their season. By the later phases, raiding tilted sweaty and joyless. Boss HP felt overtuned, bugs slipped into key encounters, and the parse race crept back. The open, alt-friendly sandbox of Phase 1 turned into a narrow min-max treadmill. PvP had its own version of that problem. Some rune combinations were simply busted, and Battlegrounds devolved into a handful of specs rolling everyone else. Blizzard whacked a few moles, but it never felt truly playtested. A quick word on the new raids. Credit where it's due. When Blizzard finally brought in brand new content like Karajan and the Scarlet Enclave, it proved the team can absolutely deliver raids and dungeons that feel authentic to Vanilla's world. The art direction, the encounters, the atmosphere, it was really good. That's the kind of Classic Plus energy people have been asking for. But the timing, that's the heartbreaker. These raids landed in the last phase, when most players had already tapped out. By the time they arrived, guild rosters were thin, casual groups had scattered, and the audience that would have fallen in love with them just wasn't there anymore. This is why pacing matters. Classic Plus can't be a dessert that shows up after everyone has left the restaurant. It needs to be baked into the meal from the start. Not just an endgame splash at the finish line, but a living path from level 1 all the way to 60. And through all of it, the old enemy never left, bots and RMT. Banning GDKPs didn't stop gold buying. It just moved where the money flowed. Bots kept farming, prices kept inflating, and honest play felt worse by comparison. If you've watched a line of mages or hunters vacuum a zone at 3 AM, you know the feeling. In Season of Discovery, that problem never truly improved. Now put that next to what the community has been building on private servers. And let's be honest about why people keep going there. It's not because they hate Blizzard, at least it's not the only reason. It's because they want Classic Plus, and in a lot of ways the community delivered it first and better. On the better run projects, bot bans are swift, GMs are visible, and economies feel human again. Not perfect, but the scale of abuse is dramatically smaller. Gold has value because it isn't printed by scripts. When someone cheats, they're gone by dinner, and in many cases the servers are actually stating the fact that bans are happening by telling so in world chat with names and reasons. But the big reason people stay: content. New zones, new dungeons, new raids, in places vanilla hinted at but never explored. The Emerald Dream as real endgame, the Dragon Isles long before retail went there, sensible class and race combos, account-friendly systems that respect your time, not seasonal wipes, persistent worlds where your character's story continues. That's what people have been asking Blizzard to make for years, and the community, with a fraction of the resources, proved it could be done. In community-run Classic Plus servers, Azeroth is reborn with new zones and dungeons for every level bracket. Fresh quests keep the journey engaging at all levels. Revamped talent trees expand each class's viability, letting every spec shine. And with new gear to discover, the thrill of the next upgrade never fades. Fan-made realms put community experience first. There's no layering or sharding, just a single living world, where everyone adventures together. Remote battleground queuing lets you join PvP from anywhere, keeping you in the action with less waiting. Active moderation keeps the world fair by driving out bots and fostering a vibrant community. Ultimately, these community-first Classic Plus servers embody the best of what players love about World of Warcraft. They offer a tight-knit, immersive adventure built by fans for fans. Blizzard seemed to acknowledge that demand when they sent a Classic Plus survey. Hype rose and then deflated. Seeing ideas like flying mounts in Classic, token and pet battles made players wonder if the lesson hadn't landed. People weren't asking you to import retail systems. They were asking to expand vanilla with vanilla's soul and constraints. The survey had good ideas too, but the out-of-touch ones drowned them out. Then the lawsuit hit turtlewow. Legally, Blizzard is protecting its IP. Everyone understands that part. Emotionally, it felt like a gut punch. Turtle became the poster child for a respectful Classic Plus. New content in the old tone, run by folks who clearly love the game. Instead of outbuilding them, Blizzard brought lawyers. For many, that was the moment hope turned into resignation. Not just frustration with Season of Discovery, but doubt that Blizzard wants or even can serve this audience. Season of Discovery did real good. It proved the appetite for Classic Plus is huge. It showed how fun class experimentation can be. It reminded people how it feels when Azeroth is mysterious again. But as it went on, remix raids replaced new adventures, Phase 3's incursions and the jump to big group raiding pushed casual guilds to the edge. The economy blew up and trust with it. The survey sent mixed signals. And the lawsuit made Blizzard look like it was fighting the community instead of learning from it. If Blizzard wants to repair trust, the path is clear. Not easy, but clear. Listen without ego. The community has been consistent about what it wants. Vanilla-style endgame that's actually new. Meaningful professions, flavorful classes, dangerous world content, faction and class issues addressed, and a war on bots that players can feel in-game. Show humility, collaborate with the people who've proven they can build Classic Plus. Hire them, consult them, copy what they've done like you always do. Bring that passion inside instead of trying to erase it. Make the rules of the road obvious, no flying, no modern systems that break the world. Build on Azeroth with respect for what made it great. Can they do it? Technically, absolutely. Culturally, that's the real question. This isn't something a single flashy season fixes. Not a survey, definitely not a lawsuit. It's a string of player-first decisions delivered consistently, and a Classic Plus that feels like it was made by people who love vanilla as much as the players do. So I'll put it to you. Did Season of Discovery actually deliver what you wanted, or did it give you a taste and then pull the plate away? Do you trust Blizzard to make a true Classic Plus after this, or do you think the real vision still lives on private servers for now? Which phase hooked you? Where did it lose you? And what one change would bring you back? Let's discuss in the comments. If you enjoyed this, drop a like and subscribe. I'll keep covering Classic Plus from the helicopter view, Blizzard's moves, the community projects, and the player voice at the center of it. This conversation isn't over. In some ways, it's just getting started. Thank you very much for watching. Take care.